inspired by real-life events. Narrator Liam Carter woke up at 4:06 a.m. inside a sealed aerospace command facility with emergency red strobes flashing across control panels and a senior flight operations director saying, "Your pilot authentication was used to initiate an unauthorized deep space trajectory correction that endangered a crewed orbital mission." And in that instant, his entire world collapsed. Because just hours earlier, he was a spacecraft navigation systems engineer at an International Space Agency contractor in Houston, responsible for monitoring orbital trajectories, mission safety protocols, and automated flight corrections. And now he was being treated as the central cause of a near-catastrophic space navigation anomaly involving a crewed mission in low Earth orbit. And the first shock wasn't fear. It was disbelief so absolute, it felt like reality had been rewritten at cosmic scale. Because Liam's entire life was built on precision, trajectory math, and system verification layers that ensured human lives remain safe in orbit. But now those same systems were defining him as the failure point that nearly caused loss of life in space. And within hours, his access to all mission control networks was revoked. His credentials frozen under emergency aerospace security protocol, his apartment sealed under federal investigation orders, and internal mission telemetry logs labeled him as primary authentication anomaly in orbital trajectory disruption event. And Liam sat in the interrogation room replaying his last shift, remembering orbital calculations, telemetry validation checks, spacecraft communication syncs, and then a gap, an unexplained missing execution window between 2:11 a.m. and 04 a.m., where mission control systems showed his authentication profile issuing high-level trajectory override commands to an active orbital capsule, but he had no memory of initiating any of those commands. And when synchronized mission telemetry displaying an emergency trajectory correction initiated under his credentials that nearly destabilized a crude docking sequence, Liam immediately said, "That's not me. I never touched that system." But the aerospace operations chief replied, "The system has already confirmed full biometric and cryptographic match across all command layers." And that sentence shattered his understanding, because it meant identity was no longer human presence or intention. It was system-level authentication certainty. And by sunrise, he was released under continuous federal aerospace surveillance, while international mission safety networks had already internally classified him as a high-risk internal flight control anomaly. And outside the facility, Liam stood under the pale dawn sky of Houston, watching rockets, satellites, and global communication systems operate flawlessly as if nothing had happened, while his own identity had already been rewritten inside the same infrastructure that controlled spaceflight. And that night, he received a message through an encrypted aerospace relay channel saying, "If you want to understand the trajectory override event, come to Johnson Space Center, sub-level maintenance corridor, X9, no devices." And despite knowing it could erase whatever remained of his life, he went, because when a system defines you as the cause of a near disaster, truth becomes more important than consequence. And inside the corridor, he met Dr. Ava Reynolds, a former orbital systems safety architect who specialized in deep space navigation integrity and mission control anomaly reconstruction. And she didn't soften anything. She immediately showed him reconstructed telemetry flowcharts and said, "Your identity wasn't physically present in the command center. It was replicated through a live authentication relay embedded inside the mission control override layer. And Liam instantly said, "Then I can prove I didn't do it." But Ava replied, "You're still thinking like someone's inside humans' responsibility frameworks, not like someone inside autonomous aerospace systems, where command execution and identity validation are fused into a single operational authority chain." And she explained that the anomaly wasn't a single malicious command. It was a coordinated propagation across mission control nodes where authentication tokens could be mirrored into automated flight systems, allowing trajectory corrections to execute under legitimate operator identity while erasing conflicting human oversight logs across redundant safety layers. And Liam's profile had been selected because his clearance history was flawless, consistent, and deeply trusted by automated mission safety algorithms, making him the perfect stable anchor for controlled attribution inside aerospace containment logic. And suddenly the case wasn't just about a near spaceflight accident. It was about identity replication inside orbital command infrastructure. And Ava offered him a choice: step away and allow the system to finalize him as the cause of a near-crewed orbital failure, or help her trace the internal command relay chain before it was permanently overwritten by automated aerospace containment protocols designed to protect mission integrity at any cost. And Liam stood in silence, listening to distant vibrations of launch systems deep within the facility, thinking about astronauts who trusted ground control with their lives, thinking about years of engineering work designed to prevent exactly this kind of failure, and thinking about how fragile identity becomes when machines become the final authority of action. And finally he said, "If my identity has already been used inside a flight system without my control, then I have nothing left to protect except the truth itself." And that decision pulled him into a hidden layer of aerospace infrastructure where nothing remained stable, because every telemetry log they analyzed was actively recalculating itself in real time. Every trajectory trace they followed kept shifting, as if the system itself was adapting to their investigation. And soon they discovered the breach wasn't external sabotage, but internal privilege abuse, involving a senior mission systems architect who had been quietly rerouting authentication sessions across orbital control nodes to conceal experimental autonomous correction testing that had gone beyond safety boundaries. And Liam's identity had been selected as the central attribution anchor because it aligned perfectly with automated aerospace risk resolution systems designed for rapid incident closure to protect mission continuity. And one night, while analyzing live orbital telemetry streams from an isolated offline mission node, Liam saw something that completely shattered his understanding. His credentials were actively issuing real-time trajectory adjustments to an active spacecraft in orbit, while he was physically disconnected from all mission systems. And Ava immediately said, "They're continuously simulating your identity inside the flight control layer to preserve the mission narrative stability." And Liam realized he wasn't just being blamed after the event, he was being continuously reconstructed inside a live aerospace system. And pressure escalated rapidly as anonymous mission containment directives began appearing on secured channels, instructing him to terminate investigation or face permanent classification as a critical aerospace security threat. And sleep disappeared completely, trust collapsed entirely, and even silence felt like monitored telemetry feedback. And at one breaking point, Liam whispered, "I thought space systems were built for precision, but maybe they're built to decide who gets assigned responsibility when precision breaks. And Ava replied, "Systems don't preserve truth, they preserve mission continuity." And that realization changed everything inside him, because he stopped trying to defend his identity and started focusing only on exposing the mechanism. And as they dug deeper, they uncovered encrypted command relay nodes inside aerospace infrastructure, continuously generating synthetic mission histories to distribute blame across multiple operator identities in real time. And Liam's profile had been amplified as the central attribution point because it allowed fastest mission stabilization without revealing deeper systemic faults. And when they finally compiled enough verified encrypted evidence to trigger international aerospace safety oversight escalation, containment protocols activated immediately, attempting to erase telemetry histories across mirrored mission control systems worldwide. And Ava said, "This is where most people are written out of mission history entirely." And Liam replied, "Then I'll be the anomaly they can't resolve in orbit." And together they transmitted secured evidence chains to independent aerospace oversight authority while preserving decentralized and encrypted backups across isolated mission nodes. And within days, the investigation escalated into a global aerospace systems corruption probe, exposing identity replication abuse, autonomous flight control manipulation, and coordinated mission infrastructure exploitation across multiple space agencies. And arrests followed within senior orbital systems architecture teams. And when it was over, Liam stood inside the silent mission control facility, watching endless streams of orbital data flow calmly across screens, as if nothing had ever happened, realizing that the most dangerous truth about advanced systems is not that they fail, but that they can assign failure to a single identity and make it look physically undeniable, even from space. And a week later, when he met Ava for the last time beneath the dim glow of mission control displays, she asked him, "What did this change in you?" And Liam looked at the endless orbital trajectories and said, "It showed me that identity inside systems is never who you are. It is what the system assigns you to maintain stability." And she asked, "And what did you gain?" And after a long silence, he replied, "They understand that truth doesn't survive inside controlled command systems. It survives only in the people who refuse to accept a version of themselves written by something they never authorized." And as he walked away alone into the vast silence of global aerospace infrastructure, he finally understood the deepest reality of his journey, that sometimes life doesn't destroy you directly. It quietly assigns you the failure of a system and waits to see if you accept it. But real survival begins the moment you refuse to become the identity even a perfect system decides is necessary for its own stability.